I don't know if it's just me, but for the last few days, I have been having this weird feeling like something big is about to happen, right? Like this weird feeling of impending doom. I have been having this crazy feeling like in my belly. I don't know what it is, okay? To be brutally honest, I feel like something is already happening. And here's why. For the last few days, there have been crazy reports of dense, thick fog in many states all over America, in addition to the UK. Now, this is not your regular fog because a lot of people have been reporting that they have been seeing some weird type of mist coming out of the sky with this fog, okay? In addition to that, there have been 4 plane crashes, y'all, within the last 5 days, okay? 3 of those plane crashes occurred within the last 24 hours. You had one on Christmas Day in Kazakhstan, and then within the last 24 hours, you had one in South Korea, Nova Scotia, as well as Norway. In addition to that, y'all, so many people have been reporting this weird sickness, whereas though they're having muscle soreness, sore throat, body aches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, the whole 9, and they said that this sickness had just been coming out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but I feel like something big is happening or about to happen, and these people just are not telling us. What are your thoughts?
Good evening. I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch.
Okay, you guys, very important video over here. You need to see this if you haven't seen this. This young lady over here, the reason why she is holding her nose is because she is flabbergasted of what her HVAC system filter looks like the day after the fog. If you guys have been in the midst of the fog, you need to go check your HVAC filters ASAP. She's actually experiencing respiratory problems because of this, y'all. Check this out. So this right here is her new filter, the one that she's about to put in, y'all. You want to see her old one? Here is the old one, y'all. It is completely black, completely dark. It literally looks like soot. It literally looks like soot. And she stated the last time that she changed this was just about a month ago. So all of this happened the moment the fog started rolling in. And I told you in Florida, we experienced like 3 weeks of fog.
This is a new one, okay? It's a MERV 11 filter. Now, keep in mind, I just changed this filter like a month ago. Let me show you the one that I'm about to pull out. What? What in the actual fuck? Look at this filter, y'all. I've never pulled out a filter this dark in my life. This is not normal. It's black. Look at the new one.
Y'all, I don't know what's going on, but these people are too quiet about this. Ain't no way you're not gonna speak on all the fog that has been happening all around the country. Hell, I believe it's happening in the world too, because I told you it's happening in the UK and Australia. So what is this about, y'all? And you need to go check your HVAC filter. But let me know down in the comments below. Like and follow and share for more videos like this. Let's continue to get this shift. Peace in.
The sun is absolutely going crazy right now with explosions across its surface, the Earth-facing side, also some on the far side, the biggest now being a 1.6 X-class flare, boom shakalaka, from Sunspot Group 3936. In fact, this was a 1.6 and a 1.1 X-class flare, though in general it was just a long duration solar flare. We're still awaiting coronagraph imagery for this to see if it pushed out a coronal mass ejection, but just looking at this 131 angstrom SUVI imagery here, we do see a push of material off the surface in this direction, more towards the west. And so it is likely that this did dislodge part of the corona and flung it out into space, though it's likely going to go ahead of the Earth to some degree, though there may be an Earth-directed component. So after countless M-class flares yesterday and a 1.1 X-class flare as the peak, we now have an even stronger X-class flare today, December 30th, Universal Time, with this 1.6 X-class flare.
And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity I can't reveal. So I think I would say that people in the government are aware of something happening and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people, and that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace.
Okay, many people remember John Ramirez, ex-CIA agent. He came forward and he said that he believed 2027 was an official date, an official contact. In other words, that he says this, that the government is going to start preparing people for this event as well.
We're kind of preparing the U.S. population, at least, and by extension, the world population, into that reality that there is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence. Because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before, previous decades, and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that these are real, and we have 5 years from 2022, or maybe now 4 years, if they come in 2027, for the U.S. government to prepare about what is up there.
Okay, and if you've seen that interview, you know he goes on to talk about Lou Elizondo and how Lou Elizondo made the comment about the 5 years, and then he said he's heard that it's an official date inside, secret government, I guess. And you ask yourself this question: are the drones part of this? Do you think, and this is the whole point of me bringing this back up, do you think, just like you say in the preparation, do you think these drones are maybe preparation to get us ready? And even Joe Rogan mentioned that like just fly it out there and just drive, basically get people used to seeing it all the time, so when it actually does occur and it takes place, hey, look, they're prepared, they're used to seeing it. But then what do they do when they actually see the beings themselves? And what are these beings? Are they guaranteed to be extraterrestrials? Are they going to be interdimensional demonic entities? Nobody knows the answers to all of that. But definitely, I think there's going to be some answers within the next few years. I do believe that the 2027 date, there's some authenticity to that date. I don't know exactly what it is, but I've heard it talked about a lot. I think this year is going to be a lot more when it comes to the sightings and things of that nature. So, with that being said, leave your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole topic.
For a long time, I used to say, before doing what I did, I used to say, what happened? Why aren't we moving forward? Today's announcement sends a clear signal to the world that we are restoring America's proud legacy of leadership in space. At some point in the future, we're going to look back and say, how did we do it without space? The Vice President will serve as the Council's chair. The privatization of certain aspects is going to play a very crucial role, don't you think? They are truly into it. I will say that's not easy because everybody wants to be on this board. People that you wouldn't have believed loved what we're doing so much. They want to be some of the most successful people in the world want to be on this board. The human soul yearns for discovery. By unlocking the mysteries of the universe, we unlock truths within ourselves. That's true. Our journey into space will not only make us stronger and more prosperous, but will unite us behind grand ambitions and bring us all closer together. Wouldn't that be nice? Can you believe that space is going to do that? I thought politics would do that. Well, we'll have to rely on space instead. Every launch into the skies is another step forward toward a future where our differences seem small
So the government just confirmed alien sightings coming out the ocean once again. So I guess it's safe to say mermaids are real, Megalodon is real, giants and Anunnaki is real, Jesus was black, reptilians is real. When Christopher Columbus landed, he actually landed in a spacecraft. History was a lie or not the full truth. Because if aliens was real this whole time, that means they could have played a big part in all the world wars. It's a whole big chunk of history that we are missing, that school does not teach us. That means we did not start off as slaves. We did not all come from Africa. Black melanated people was everywhere on the planet, including America first. Everything y'all said was conspiracy was actually the truth. It's almost like y'all waiting on the government to tell us it's the truth. Start living accordingly, fam. Start using your intuition, fam. Everything is not conspiracy, man. Stop following trends and sleep people trying to tell you that it's not real. The stuff is real, fam. Comment down some more stuff that they said was conspiracy, but 9 times out of 10 is real. They just waiting on the government to say, oh yeah, that's real. Peace, y'all, boy.
Oh, God.
Cops come across creepy sights more often than you would think, sights that they themselves cannot comprehend. Luckily, they were captured on camera. In the middle of the road, well past midnight, a figure appeared from nowhere in the middle of the road, which left onlookers frightened and unable to explain. Let's take a look. There, a few steps away from the car in the pitch dark, is a dark woman-like figure standing, hair frazzled and barefoot. What would you do if you were to encounter this being alone?
Oh, God. No. Oh, my God. No. Oh.
Her mother tells us that she got up at 5:30, day after Christmas, and prepare some little breakfast. Family was going to leave to upstate Michigan for the rest of their Christmas holiday, and she sees a note propped up on a step, like this. And the note, as she reads it, is a kidnap note. It says, "We represent a small foreign faction, and we're demanding," well, how much would you demand? I don't think you've done any kidnappings. This is your first one. And this guy, he's worth about $300 million. He just sold his business. So what would you ask? Maybe $250,000? Okay, all right. There's a guy back there in that red sweater. He's done a couple jobs. What, $500,000? $500,000, right? Okay. I see a guy there in the back with a tie and a white shirt. He's trying to pretend he's a solid citizen. I can recognize a veteran kidnapper when I see one. What do you go for, $1 million, sir? What do you think? Okay. So you know what was asked for in this ransom note? $118,000. It's a nice round number, right? Exactly the amount of money that John Ramsey had been paid as a bonus from his company the year before. How many people would have known John Ramsey's bonus of $118,000? And now this kidnapper, who has found a way to come into the house without awakening anybody, knowing where her room is, not awakening her that she would cry out, the brother Burke, 3 years older, just a few feet away, not awakening him or the parents. And he knows about a back set of stairs that go down into the basement that a maid who would work there for 6 months never knew existed. That the detectives who were called at 6 o'clock in the morning searching for a little girl in a house. That's a good-sized house. Some of you live in bigger houses. They're searching in a house for a little girl. They never found this room at the base of the steps. It wasn't until 7 hours later that John Ramsey says to his then best friend, who turned on him and became his worst enemy, a nightmare for him. John Ramsey says to his friend, whom he invited over, let's go down to the basement and look again. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And according to his then best friend, before the lights are even on in the room, as Ramsey opens up the door, he exclaims, "Oh my God, there's my daughter." And they take the little girl's body up. And the coroner is called. 7 hours later, gets there, doesn't see the body until 8:30. By that time, the indicia that we use, rigor mortis, body stiffening, lever mortis, the settling, gravitational settling of blood and the dependent parts of the body, algor mortis, body temperature, that we use to determine when somebody died, forget about it. After 8 hours, you know, the error rate, the range is too great to be of any specificity. And so they blew that completely. And it makes a determination that she died, and it's interesting when you read the autopsy report, talks about this fracture on the top of the head of 8.5 inches from front to back, and then the rope around the neck and so on. Interestingly, the rope around the neck, the collar of this sweater pajama was pulled up like this, so that the rope wasn't touching the skin. And down here on the sleeve, where it was tied, it was over the sweater so that it did not touch the skin. And guess what? In the autopsy of this 6-year-old girl, most of the hymen was missing. There is chronic inflammation seen in the vaginal mucosa, the lining of the vaginal vault, microscopically. And that means something 48, 72 hours or more had caused it to become inflamed. And then at the 7 o'clock position, focal superficial erosion. And I don't mean to be crude or insensitive, but in order for you to understand this, the women can think of the pelvic exam when a right-handed examiner, or he, she, was examining you and doing an examination of the organs and so on, where that finger would go, 7 o'clock position. And then under polarized light, you take a blue prism and you put it on the optic of the regular microscope, and you see birefringent materials, which can't be seen unless you use the blue prism. You know what the most ubiquitous source of birefringent materials is in every single one of our homes without exception? Talcum powder. You get the idea? There's no evidence at all of penile intrusion into the vaginal vault. There's no sperm. There's no great injury, a minor abrasion. You've got the chronic inflammation. You've got the absence of the hymen to a great extent. You've got the focal superficial erosion at the 7 o'clock position, and you've got birefringent material. Begin to get a picture? I have to spell it out for you anymore. This is a game that had been played many times, who knows, before. Patsy Ramsey, the wife, she was out of the sex business, ovarian cancer, surgery, chemotherapy, radiation therapy. She's not in the business. Little Jean Benet, she's the surrogate. There was no intent to harm her. This was a game that was played. The binding phenomenon, not that little girl got any pleasure from it, but the vicarious thrill, a well-known phenomenon in sex games, that binding. In fact, I just saw the TV program. We don't watch much TV. I'm reminded, but I heard about this great program with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson called True Detectives. I don't know if you've seen it. It's really delightful, very fascinating. And there's this one scene where he, cheating on his wife, Harrelson, she handcuffs him to the bedpost, and then they go on from there. So binding is a well-known phenomenon. But back to John Benet and our kidnapper, who gets into the house and who leaves the house and who takes the time, by the way, the pen and pencil, pen and paper with which he wrote, and upon that which he wrote, was there in the middle of the night. He went around and found a pen and paper. And by the way, he didn't like the first beginning. He took the notes. He knew that one day it would become a hot item. He crumpled it and threw it to the ground. And then he started all over again, like an English paper, right? And then proceeded to write, "We represent a small foreign faction." And By the way, too, the rope that was used to bind her was conveniently found there. And then he, after writing the note in the middle of the night, he leaves. But what did he forget? How's about the body of the girl that you just kidnapped? You took all this time. You had the incredible chutzpah to break into this house. You knew where to find this girl. You took your time in finding everything to kill her, and you decided that after you had that pleasurable, perverted sexual activity, you would also make it a profitable evening and get some money. Well, how's about picking up a 45-pound body and throwing it into the woods or down a sewer, and maybe you get a chance to get some money? This guy, with all of that incredible courage and patience, does all of that and then walks out of the house, leaving the body. You like that? How do you like that story? So if there's anybody here who believes there was an intruder, the next time you all invite me to Bethel Park and I have my own hair, not a wig, and it comes down to my shoulders, that's when they will have found the intruder who killed JonBenet Ramsey.
When a problem comes up, one of the best things to say is, all is well, everything is working out for my highest good, and out of this situation, this so-called problem, only good will come, and I am safe. And you know, this is something that's very powerful. All is well, everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this experience, only good will come, and I am safe.